The 2023 Formula One season has just concluded, with Max Verstappen and Red Bull coming out on top again. But there's no time for teams and drivers to rest, because big changes are already on the horizon for 2024. The FIA has introduced several new rules that will flip the script next season. There will be a record-breaking 24 races, preseason testing date changes, restrictions on older car testing, and much more. Here we'll break down all the major regulation changes for 2024 and what they could mean for teams and drivers. Strap yourself in because the FIA is throwing some big curveballs that will shake up the competitive order. 2024 F1 calendar. The 2024 F1 calendar promises to be a blockbuster season, with a record-breaking 24 Grand Prix events scheduled from February through November. Here is an event-by-event look at the upcoming championship schedule. The season kicks off under lights in Bahrain for late February testing, and the opening Bahrain Grand Prix on March 3rd. Teams stay put for a second week of racing in the popular Middle East night venue. The Flyway Tour then heads east to China on April 14th for the returning Shanghai International Circuit, and the first F1 race in the country since 2019 following pandemic cancellations. Just 1 week later is the Japanese Grand Prix at Suzuka, before an early season Asian leg wraps up. May sees the start of the European summer stretch beginning in Spain on May 12th. Next up is the iconic Monaco Grand Prix on May 26th, retaining its prestigious place on the calendar, despite rumors it may be dropped. An early summer doubleheader then hits Baku, Azerbaijan and Montreal, Canada on back-to-back June weekends. July features Austria and its popular Styrian Mountains venue, along with a stop in France and Hungary before the mid-season break. When racing returns at the end of August, Belgium and Netherlands host their fall classics on subsequent weekends. September features a diverse trio of Italy, Singapore under lights on its city street course, and Russia, all in a 3-week blitz. The fourth quarter of the 2024 campaign shifts to the Americas, with the United States at Circuit of the Americas, Mexico, and the season finale in Las Vegas, all hosting October dates. November rounds out the schedule as Sao Paulo, Brazil, and oil-rich Middle East venues Qatar and Abu Dhabi alternate weekends to put a bow on this historic 24-race Formula One season. With expansions to classic European sites like Spa-Francorchamps, along with next-gen venues like Miami and Las Vegas now cemented on the calendar, the quickly expanding F1 slate has something for every fan. The 2024 championship is set for almost non-stop racing action, visiting 6 continents and 17 countries over 9 straight months of competition. Preseason testing changes. With more races on the calendar, preseason testing takes on even more importance in 2024. Teams will again test in Bahrain from Feb 21 to 23, but with shorter hours. The FIA has cut testing by 30 minutes each night, ending at 7 p.m. instead of 7:30 p.m. This move promotes sustainability by saving on power usage late into the evening. An interesting benefit is that teams no longer have to pack up cars and equipment from Spain to Bahrain between testing and the opening Bahrain Grand Prix. This streamlines logistics and saves on missions. 2024 car launch dates. Formula One teams are still finalizing car launch dates for 2024, but with testing happening earlier on Feb 21, we expect reveals as early as late January. The key preseason benchmark will be Feb 16. The final day teams can homologate certain car components, so expect a cluster of launch events in the 2 weeks leading up to that deadline. Restrictions on testing older cars. The FIA is tightening rules around testing cars from previous seasons to prohibit teams from gaining an unfair advantage. Updates limit testing to only parts and software run during actual competitions in 2022 or 2023. This prevents teams bringing new and unproven components to old cars just for extra testing and data collection. It keeps development focused on current chassis. The rules still allow young drivers and reserves to gain experience in 2-year-old cars, but even these private tests can now only use components raced in real Grand Prix. Formula One sprint race format changes. Sprint races return in 2024, but expect tweaks to the format after learnings from the initial trials. Discussions are happening between F1 management and teams around moving sprint session to Saturday morning and having regular qualifying on Saturday afternoon. This would shake up the weekend schedule, but reopen park firm conditions earlier to avoid teams having to design 2 different cars, one optimized for sprint, one for main Grand Prix. There's also talk of allowing reverse grid order for sprint, start based on championship position. This would see the leaders start at the back to make sprinting more exciting through the field. 2024 reserve driver announcements. Although only a couple teams have announced their reserve drivers for 2024, expect familiar faces mixed with exciting rookies. Red Bull sticks with Liam Lawson, who impressed in young driver tests this year. Mercedes keeps trusty backup Mick Schumacher, but McLaren signed 24 hours of Le Mans winner Rio Hirakawa and IndyCar rising star Pato O'Ward to push their main drivers. Expect more news around reserves in January as 2024 car launches get underway. 2024 rule changes. Tires. One key regulation for 2024 is around tires provided by Pirelli. After complaints of lack durability and grip, especially in wet conditions, Pirelli gets 4 extra test days to improve compounds. There will also be no more race weekends with reduced tire allocations. Every race gets full 13 sets, and the proposed ban on tire heating blankets has been pushed back to at least 2026, so no change for teams there. 2024 rule changes. Car safety improvements. The FIA continues prioritizing new rules to enhance driver safety and comfort within the cockpit. 2 key areas get addressed with 2024 regulation tweaks. Splash screens. Visibility while driving and spray behind a leading car has posed issues despite the introduction of helmet visor tear-offs. To improve visibility, the FIA trials a completely redesigned splash screen to deploy across the top of the cockpit sides. If these new splash guards perform well in May testing, they could debut fully in 2025 or 2026. Cockpit cooling. Following heat-related issues for drivers at hot climate races, especially under punishing Middle East sun, cooling ducts can now be mounted in the tip of the car's noses. These duct air passages link directly to the cockpit to blow improved airflow onto the pilot's torso, head, and helmet. The system provides relief from blistering interior temperatures that have caused past retirements. Additionally, minor tweaks to floor edges serve to prevent strayed bodywork pieces from disengaging and posing debris hazards. Updates to the financial cap also give teams more flexibility managing their budgets. By targeting splash protection, cooling flow, debris threats, and financial stability, the FIA further cultivates safe working conditions for Formula One drivers to push competitive limits. The 2024 rules take worthwhile steps, optimizing safety systems and the driving environment. 2026 rule changes, car development. One of the most sweeping rule changes coming in 2026 involves a complete reset on the car development process and restricting when teams can begin designing new vehicles. 2026 brings the introduction of F1's next generation of car featuring ground effects, aerodynamics, and expansive rule changes to promote closer racing. To ensure a more level playing field between teams and eliminate any unfair head starts, the FIA has banned the physical development of 2026 chassis until January 1st, 2025. This means no wind tunnel testing, no computational fluid dynamics simulation, and no building of car components can happen until New Year's Day 2025. The only design and concept work allowed focuses on initial sketches, theoretical modeling, and early research, but no physical prototyping or test parts can be manufactured. This allows creativity and ideation using computers and simulators, but contains the work to concept phase only during 2024. No tangible car assembly happens until the calendar turns to 2025. The goal is to synchronize the start of expensive car production between all 10 F1 teams, so nobody steals a march preparing 2026 builds earlier. Smaller budget squads can't afford an 18-month development jump on 2026, so this ruling promotes fairness and equal preparation timeframes entering the new era. When New Year 2025 arrives, an arms race will rapidly unfold with tunnel testing, rapid prototyping, iteration cycles, and computational research, all firing up simultaneously across every F1 factory. 2025 will feature a flurry of aerodynamic package experimentation and dyno engine development as teams pour resources into their new chassis. This restricted development window will compress preparation with cars unveiled just weeks before 2026 preseason testing. It leads to an incredibly exciting build-up to kick off the next generation era of Formula One cars. As you can see, the FIA isn't standing still when it comes to regulations and format changes. The 2024 season promises to be the biggest ever F1 championship with some tweaks to create better racing and challenge the top teams. What new rule are you most excited to see play out? Or what other regulations would you change? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more.